My time here, saying hi slowly, letting some time pass so people know that I'm live if they care to show up. No big deal if they don't. Um, my conversation seems to flow just the same either way. It's not dependent upon an audience, it seems. Um, Hopefully, stuff that I say, the conversations that I have, conversations that we have, um, will hit maybe one point of um, cohesiveness, seamlessness. Everything comes together, and maybe I make sense just for a brief moment before it all falls into shambles yet again. That's the important thing. It's the same thing when I write. I often say that what I'm striving for is one beautiful line. That's it. If I hit that one beautiful line, every other word is cake. Nothing else matters. I get that one beautiful line, and if I miss it this time, the next time. It's all I want. If I get more, that's a bonus. Happy with that. If the whole, um, I basically call it lyrical prose. If it all falls together perfectly, and it does sometimes, then, all the better. But if I only get that one beautiful line, everything else is unnecessary. It's just a bonus. So, speaking of lyrical prose on my blog, got to remember to post a link. I always forget. We want to post a link for Buy Me Coffee too, just in case anyone literally wants to buy me coffee. That would be a good thing. This morning, I wrote about prana, life essence, life energy, and the role that it plays, how it is embodied. Prana is everything. Prana is the energy of life. It is life. Everything would be, nothing would be. Everything is animated because of prana. Most importantly, for our sake, us. So as I wrote this morning, and I'm not sure if I'll read the whole essay here that I wrote, lyrical prose, again, as I like to call it. Um, Started out calling lyrical poetry, but lyrical prose just seems to fit the description better. But as I wrote this morning, yoga is motion. More deeply, though, and it's the ever-present stillness that allows for its own fulfillment to be shown. It's energy, prana, expressed through the posture of the body. Beautifully so, artfully. There are times when it seems that prana guides our practice, taking charge of the body through its very cells, dragging us through some divine play of poses, a flow beyond our current understanding of yoga. We are simply and only the expression of prana now, its fulfillment, beautifully shown, artfully. This happens off the yoga mat as well, peak experiences where the mind seems unusually sharp and clear, suspended of all avenues of doubt, and every fiber of the body is committed to the task at hand. Again, it's the dichotomy of motion and stillness, healed of its division, no longer seen as separate things at all, but now experienced directly as one thing alone. Prana, subtlest of energy, our life force fully expressed as what we most truly are. Yoga is the dance of possibilities, presently displayed. It's prana, artfully arranged. That was from this morning's blog. And it seems to, for me, express so much of my life right now. That when I begin with that, it is motion as well as stillness. And again, that comes back to when we talk about the Heart Sutra, not being two separate things. It's not emptiness becoming form and form regressing back to its state of emptiness before. It's one thing in constant flux. showing itself as form, but still emptiness itself. It's the same with motion and stillness. Motion is stillness displayed, and we find that in a deep, deep posture in yoga. When we really sink deep, when the breath is flowing deeply, evenly, smoothly. We have the ujjayi breathing, the ocean breath, and it just draws us deeper and deeper and deeper within the body. We are still, and yet we are in motion. One thing, just like the Heart Sutra. So I'm breaking this down a little bit of a time as we go through it. That what yoga is basically the cultivation and the display of prana, of life energy. The same thing when a flower blooms. That's yoga. That's a beautiful way of seeing yoga. All of life. It doesn't have to just be in your asanas. It doesn't have to just be in the postures and the poses. Just throughout everything. When you're doing a burpee, if you're doing it, I don't want to say mindfully, if you're doing it with commitment, if you have a depth to your practice where you are allowing it to be expressed. The J. Jordan, how are you, my friend? I appreciate you liking and sharing. That means a lot. And you know, in the past 2 or 3 weeks, I came close to actually doubling my subscribers, and I owe a large amount of that to you and your friendship. I'm talking about yoga and energy, prana, as it's called in yoga, and the creativity behind it, and how when you see a flower bloom, you're seeing yoga in motion, you're seeing prana being displayed. And when I watch you practice, it's the same thing. When you hit that zone, when everything is just flowing, when your lyrics are just hitting it perfectly, that's life force, that's energy, that's magic happening right there. Really inspiring, my friend. Hi, Mocha. Thanks for joining. I was talking about prana, life force, and likening motion and stillness as being the same thing. Same as in the Heart Sutra. Emptiness is form, form is emptiness. Motion is stillness. Stillness is displayed as motion. And you get there in that depth of a yogic pose when you just hit that point of stillness. Everything's suspended. Only for a moment, only for a breath. And then the world starts again. But you always have that moment. You've tasted that stillness and you keep coming back. Mocha says, always a good topic. Thanks. I appreciate it and I agree. It's fun to talk about because it's in everything we see. And I was saying just a few minutes earlier that when you, everything is yoga. Everything. When you see a flower in full bloom, you are seeing the yogic expression, the prana expressed through that flower, opening up its life force. No separation between a blooming flower and the sky. One thing, from earth to roots to stem to petals to flowering to sky, onwards. That direction is reversed as well. We think of the pranic life force as we breathe it in, coming in, but it's also emitting from the body. It's also coming up through the body. It's just one thing. And that's where creativity comes into play. When we hit that intuitive, free expression, and I was mentioning that to the J. Jordan, that I see that when he is performing, when he's doing a live session, everything just hits. Everything's perfect. Everything's flowing. That's yoga. Doesn't have to be on your mat. Doesn't have to be doing asanas. Can be doing burpees. I always told people that you can stretch and you can do yoga poses as a stretch. That doesn't mean you're doing yoga. However, to Jay Jordan, you're welcome. Very much so. As I told you a couple times before, you really helped inspire me to just show my own creativity, put my own practice out there. And when I talk, it's just a practice. It's what I write about. Um, it's what I do every day. So I figured, why not? Why not put it out there? So you can stretch. That doesn't necessarily make it yoga. However, you could do burpees, and that can be yoga. You can go bowling, and that can be yoga. You can make music, and that can be yoga, because it is infused with prana. It's infused with that life energy. It's infused with the very creative source that makes the universe. That's what makes something yoga. Weightlifting, bowling, music, all of it. When it's done with that intent of opening ourselves up fully to prana, fully to the energy of the world, very energy that was contained within that singularity of existence, for whatever reason, suddenly expanded, brought space and time with it in the creation of the universe. One thing, one tiny, tiny point of existence. No space, no time. Just that one little thing. Infinite amount of energy. And by infinite, I mean all of it. Every bit of energy that we have in the entire universe was contained within that singularity. For whatever reason, it expanded with a great burst and became the Big Bang. Now, in yogic mythology, it's because the universe is constantly coming in and out of existence. It's like the breath, it's a cycle. Breathing in, the universe contracts. It's back into that singularity of energy. Breathing out, it expands and it becomes the universe and all that's contained within the universe. Eventually, Shiva, the creator, breathed back in. Shiva is the creator and destroyer of the universe. It's the breath of the universe. Of course, in Vedic mythology, yogic mythology, Hindu mythology, Shiva is an incarnation of God. But we can just think of Shiva as energy. We can think of Shiva as the God force of energy. We can even take the name out. It's just a label. But again, that single point, single infinite point of energy, that's us. That's where we came from. It's amazing to think that we came from that little singularity, and that as time and space was created, the very stuff that is making our bodies, making our minds, making our brain, making our heartbeat, feeding us creativity, drawing in air, the air that's being drawn in, all of that was created by that one thing. So where does that leave us? It leaves us as the universe, right here, right now, the very source of creativity. How can we ever be blocked of creativity? How can we ever suffer from writer's block? How can we never not have that perfect lyric coming right out of our mouth? We can, as long as we're open to it, as long as it's not us doing the performance. As it says in the Bhagavad Gita, there is no doer. That's karma yoga. Practicing karma yoga is giving ourselves to the motion of the world, the motion of the universe, and allowing it to be expressed through us. Myself alone, I can't do anything. I'm going to fumble with words. I'm going to flop over in a yoga pose. I'm going to gas out at 10 burpees. I'm very limited. And by that, I mean my ego, that voice that's telling me what to do, how to do it, who to do it to. is very limited, and yet it believes it's the center of the universe. It is the center of my universe until I learn to let it go, to relax. Secret to any type of awakening experience, peak experience, enlightenment, whatever, relax. You're already there. You're already home. You're already enlightened. You're already awakened. You're a yogic seer. Don't even have to know it. The more relaxed we are, the more we are beingness itself. It's when we contract, when we believe that we are that voice narrating every situation. That's not us. That's not who we are. That's just a voice. It's just a thought. It's a vibration. Now, we're not separate from that. It's not a separate event. It's just a fluctuation of energy going on in the head, expressing itself for whatever reason at some point in our life, some point in our parents' lives, grandparents, all the way back to whenever that first voice of the ego appeared. We believe it's us. First voice of the ego, Garden of Eden. Adam ate the apple and he blamed Eve. She probably didn't even offer him the apple. He probably ate it himself and said, hey, Eve, hold this apple for me while God looks over. That was the voice of the ego. I didn't do it. Wasn't the secret of knowledge that we were after. Ego is the voice of knowledge. Spirit is the all-knowing presence that doesn't require information. It's not that information is bad. It's not who and what we are. Some say, mathematically, the universe is information. It's a different type of information, though. When I say knowledge and information, basically what I mean is the stuff that we can look up. History, politics, who the president is, who the president was, who's in charge of this, who's in charge of that. Good things to know, sometimes, but it's not true knowledge. What got us kicked out of the garden was our belief that we were separate. That voice of the ego saying, hey, that apple's mine. Eve doesn't deserve it. God shouldn't have it for himself. This is my apple. God made it for me. Bam, we're out of the garden. Goes back to what Anthony de Mello, the Jesuit priest, said. Very interesting guy. East Indian, Hindu raised, became a Jesuit priest, but is steeped in yogic and Vedic lore, Vedic knowledge. And he talked about at one time we saw that magical, fluffy little creature playing in the sky. And someone came along and said, it's a sparrow. The next time we saw that magical creature in the sky, we looked at it and said, it's just a sparrow. We've seen sparrows before. I'm bored with sparrows. Let's look for something else. Show me a cardinal. Show me a blue jay. We no longer saw the magic in the ordinary. Or what is always extraordinary then became ordinary. That's what kicked us out of the garden. We no longer saw sparrows as magical. However, the truth is, we've never ever stepped foot outside of the garden. Jesus pointed in the right direction. The kingdom of heaven lies within. How easy is that? We're looking in the wrong spot. We're on our knees praying out there. God help me, Jesus help me, Jesus save me. And yet Jesus gave direction. He pointed clearly. There, inside you. If the kingdom of heaven is within, here, me, it's got to be inside of you too. I can look within my heart and find the kingdom of heaven. I can look within your heart and find the kingdom of heaven. It's not absent. We've never left the garden. So that means we're all residing in the garden together. You and me. Liberals, conservatives. Hard for us to swallow that fact, huh? North and south, east and west, all of us. Same garden. Jesus didn't say, look within, the kingdom of heaven is there for you and there for you and over there for you. It's right here. So that was a long detour from prana, but it's all related. Just being energy. That whole conversation fueled by prana. My burpee set this morning, fueled by prana. My yoga session that I just did, prana, cultivating prana, and then having it be expressed through me. Love that creativity. Probably nothing more important to me than creativity. Being creative, knowing that I am hooked in to that source and it is expressing itself through me. And again, I keep coming back to the fact that none of that is my doing. There is no doer. Bhagavad Gita plus the Tao Te Ching both tell you there's no doer. There's just what's done, just what's being expressed. That includes us. Not just what we put out there, but I mean us. Our skin and our bones, our thoughts, our brain, our essence, our presence. It's all being done. Mocha's probably heard me say at least 1,000 times, probably this week alone, that we're not nouns, we're verbs. In Kabbalah, they say that God is a verb. We think of everything as a noun: tree, person, dog, book. But it's prana, it's energy, it's emotion, it's playing. Playfully playing. Life is enjoying itself. We're the somber ones because, again, we stepped out of the garden because we think we're separate from our surroundings. We see a dog, we see a sparrow, we see another person, and we think they're way over there. But they're not. They are an appearance within our awareness, and we are an appearance within their awareness. As Douglas Harding, the British philosopher, said, we are trading places with each other. My face exchanged for yours. I don't see my face. Look in this direction, not at my thumbs, in this direction. The direction that I'm pointing in, and I see absolutely nothing. I've never seen my face before. I've seen reflections, I've seen photographs, I've seen drawings, I've heard descriptions. Never super flattering descriptions, by the way. You would think somebody would offer me a really super description. Very flattering description. However, it doesn't matter because when I look in this direction, I don't see a face. I see emptiness. And yet within that emptiness, the world is suddenly appearing. This room is suddenly appearing. My computer screen, this phone screen, all of it, magically arising. The sparrow is back. And it's just a fluffy, magical creature. Magic. It's returned. When I look at you, I'm not seeing this. You are. I'm seeing your face. And what makes that face so much more beautiful is that it's my face too. We're exchanging space. We're exchanging awareness. One spot. Capacity. That's unconditional love. I am offering you the capacity to appear however you are, and you are offering the same to me. It doesn't have to be verbalized. You don't have to look at me and say, I love you. It doesn't have to be said. Because when you look at me, you are giving me your capacity for my beingness to be. As I do for you. All without having to say it. Now, if it was just ego, if it's just me, little old me, I'd be charging you rent for my capacity. You would be charging me rent for your capacity. We would be exchanging insurance information or something for the collision of our capacity. Ego comes into play. Well, if it's my capacity, why should I share it with you? Or what am I getting out of this? What you're getting is the entire universe in your capacity. It's a pretty fair rate. When I look at you, you are unconditionally giving me your capacity, no matter who and what you are, no matter what political party you are, no matter what race you are, no matter what religious belief you have. You are giving me your unconditional love, showing its capacity for my beingness, and I am doing the same for you. So, in spite of whatever words I might put out there, I don't like this person or that person, whatever, my beingness actually betrays my thoughts. My beingness is just open, wide open, the sky, given directly to you, however you wish to be expressed. But it's always beautiful, always beautiful. So, I might be out of words. We're close to it. I mean, I could keep talking, but there's just something right now just making me think I've said it all for today. And that's been happening in the past couple talks where I don't feel talked out. I feel complete. Like there was something that should be said. I don't know what specifically, but I opened myself up and allowed it to come out, allowed it to be said, whatever it is, for whomever needs to hear it, wishes to hear it, discovers it one day, 20 years from now, when kids are looking at this antique thing called YouTube and they see this crazy bald guy talking about all kinds of crazy stuff. Although I suspect in 20 years, people might even be more open. That when we talk about capacity, when we talk about emptiness and form, when we talk about unconditional love, that it is a present day reality. Everyone's living it. That we'll be more open then than we are right now. And we're much more open than we were even 10 years ago. Life is always expanding for its own benefit. We are no less than life. So we're always expanding, always opening, always accepting. That's the funny thing. When I hear people talk about, I don't accept this, I don't believe this, I don't want this in my life. Guess what? It's already there. Just by your own awareness. Let's see. Do you think all this stuff will be stored in the future in some weird corner of the old internet backup? Man, I don't know. That's interesting. Part of me, when I make a video like this and I'm ranting and raving, think I certainly hope not. I don't want someone to discover this. But nothing's ever lost in some way or the other. This video may not exist 20 years from now, but something I said, some essence, whatever, someone else is going to be ranting and raving in a street corner, waving a sign. The universe is energy. Prana is everything. Yoga is motion. So, it doesn't matter. But I imagine something will be saved. YouTube will be. It's all over my bathroom, someone says. I'm a little afraid to ask what. So you know what? I'm not going to. So, Duncan Walsh, how are you, my friend? Been basically talking about energy, prana, life energy. No one, I'm actually winding down, probably be ending the conversation relatively soon. No one puts out energy the way you do. Your routines are probably the most intense. You're 100% all the way. I'm doing pretty good, Duncan. Barefoot, how are you? Duncan said that should be a song. Um, what? What the person's saying? Mocha says, sounds like one of your weird fiction authors type of stories, Jitterbug Perfume. Could be. Duncan says about the energy. Um, in a way, of course, it is. It's the essence of every song. Singing is just energy verbalized, a little bit of a slower vibration. So I have to say, I appreciate everyone who comes by to have a listen, no matter the reason they come on, and no matter what people are saying in the comment sections. Um, I'm not ignoring, but I'm not I'm not focusing. It's actually making me chuckle. It's making me laugh a little bit. Um, so I appreciate. What's the question, Duncan? Barefoot had a question as well. Silence. Probably the worst thing you could present someone with the most necessary ingredient. Barefoot says he might save the question for another time. That's good. Duncan said that you have a great ability to compliment people and identify their strength and possibilities, positivity they show. Unc, Burpee Yoga Uncle, my friend. Aloha to you. So the question from Duncan is, do you ever apply that skill to yourself? That's a great question. And honestly, probably not, or little. You know who the person that could answer that would be Milka. Um, if you think that I am complimentary towards myself in a serious way, highlighting my strength, I'd say probably not to the extent that I should. I always have trouble with usernames. So if I don't say hi to you directly, I'm just doing an all-inclusive hi. Um, Burpee Yoga Uncle says, here's a question. Why does time seem to go faster than before? Um, I have a possible answer that I read before. Man, that is a good question. And I honestly think it has something to do with age and the constriction of our awareness as we get older. Our attention is diminished more towards smaller things. Mocha's answer to the question I asked of her concerning myself is jokingly all the time, seriously almost never. And that is probably the perfect way, the perfect answer. That jokingly I might mock, praise myself, but in a serious fashion, I probably undersell myself to a great extent, which is weird when you think in terms of what I was saying earlier about being capacity for each other. That if we are capacity unconditionally so for each other, then in that same sentence, I should be able to say I have the same praise towards myself, my own skills recognized. Burpee Yoga Uncle says it's based on the Mayan calendar and all the 7 stages of consciousness. Duncan says you have many good qualities. You should acknowledge those sometimes. Probably. More than probably. We all need praise. And I think importantly, we all need self-praise. Self-recognizing itself. Because only in that attention, only in that awareness are we able to cultivate it. Everything perishes without attention, including our own great qualities. Let's see, I don't want to miss... I'd be interested in hear more about the what you were saying, Unc. Definitely. I appreciate hearing that as well, Duncan. And it's an excellent point. And as I was saying that, everything perishes without attention, including our own great qualities. And we can't just rely on other people to notice and point them out. Sometimes it doesn't happen. I think importantly, it doesn't happen for some people at an early age. They might not hear it from their parents. They might not hear it from school teacher. They might not hear it from anyone. And so it never develops. We're left with a certain emotional, creative infancy that never, ever truly becomes itself, the greatness of itself. We can liken it to a seed needing water, needing the attention, needing sunlight. Without any of that, we're stunted. We don't reach that full flowering. I'm reading the comments. I never know what to take seriously from people. So I figured, unless it's from someone I know, and unless, like Duncan or Unk or Barefoot, Mocha, most of the questions and comments that come up don't really need to be addressed. However, I will acknowledge the creativity that you're putting out there and showing. Not only that, I appreciate it. I never know, if someone is actually trolling or not. I don't want to say I never know. I assume that, most people who come here who I don't know, again, are trolling. What I don't appreciate is just the trolling to be mean. If someone comes on here and they troll and they're creative and they're funny, they make me smile. Even if it seems too weird or too negative, whatever. If you're being creative, hey, props. I appreciate it. Uninspired trolls, I think, are the worst. Why do it if you yourself aren't even having fun with it? Makes no sense with me. Being a troll makes no sense with me. Being a hater makes no sense to me. Take that same energy, which has been the topic of this entire talk, and use it to make something beautiful. Use it to be something beautiful. Expose yourself as what you truly, truly are, which is a very beautiful thing. So, I was wrapping things up at the 30-minute mark and going strong at almost 40. But I think I'll probably wrap things up now. I got I did my last yoga session for the day. I've expanded it. um, opened it up almost to a new path, really allowing the asanas to um, break me open, expose me as light. Um, very much enjoying it. 2 yoga practices a day, and maybe even fitting in a third later today. We'll see. Um, but now it's time for some breath work and then my last meditation for the day. I want to thank everyone for showing up. The great questions from Unk, from Duncan. I appreciate Barefoot and Milka and everyone else. Again, the trolling that showed up today, excellent. Some of the best that has been brought to my channel. So thank you guys. Be back tomorrow for some burpees. Have a good day. Thanks again, guys.